So, there you have it, people. Albert Wesker is the traitor. He was working for Umbrella. And, yeah, I literally just wanted to show that at the start, not only for getting a thumbnail for this video, but also for the fact that, well, if I can finally discuss Albert Wesker's role in full, and pretty much the role that he would stick with for the rest of the series. I mean, admittedly, I do prefer playing the dual scenario in the original, but I am kind of loath for not picking Chris's scenario because, well, as much as they try and play Wesker up as the badass in this game, his voice actor doesn't really deliver it, and some of the lines he's given is kind of equivalent to a 10-year-old boy, really. I mean, it's, like, very Liquid Snake. It's just sort of like, Chris, stop it. My project is really cool, you guys. But yeah, he was pretty much the one tasked with eliminating stars and pretty much doing Umbrella's bidding, but it seems that he's got plans of his own. I wonder where he is now. Yeah, well, we'll see by the end of the part, because we also got a lot of cutscenes to deal with by the time we reach the end of the lab. But yeah, this also brings us to the ultimate project that Umbrella was working on. The Tyrant. What was its purpose? Was it to be a superhuman? I mean, obviously we know for the rest of the series that it's pretty much meant to be genetically engineered from the get-go, so yes. Seems that the Tyrant has a lot of project files on it. We gotta destroy it. All of this death, destruction, and chaos, it must not be allowed to live. And of course, as we know with the rest of the Resident Evil series turning out with, you know, several viruses named after the alphabet and bioweapons galore, yeah, that went well. Snarkasm, 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 tee hee hee. Oh dear, another one of these puzzles. Fucking I'm too lazy to edit, so, yeah, basically move the... It's kind of a similar principle to the earlier mansion puzzle, actually. Move the boxes over the things and tediously try and get them into position, block the poison gas vents, and you should be good. All it takes is just a bit of finagling, really, so enjoy tedium and running around the place to do a thing. It's about as exciting as it sounds, so, I think it's about time for a bit of trivia. The last piece of trivia I have, which is to do with the naked zombies. Oh yeah. And if you're wondering part of the reason why they exist and why they limit the part of your brain, no, why they exist in the part of the brain that dominates your nightmares, well, it's because naked zombies are entirely a product of Hideki Kamiya because it was easier to render zombies without clothing textures. So I suppose they were pretty much going to be a generic enemy type, and I suppose back when the game was initially going to be first person, when the environments were, you know, going to be fully rendered and all that, it probably would have been easier to have naked zombies to at least cut down on, you know, the amount of rendering the PlayStation would have had to have done. But yeah, I mean, as you could no doubt tell with the Sega Saturn having higher clothing texture quality and kind of higher texture quality all around, really. Both in terms of, you know, environments, you know, things like water or whatever. Yeah, kind of a issue non grata, especially with the pre-rendered environments doing a lot of the heavy lifting for backgrounds. But I mean, yeah, as the series went on and, you know, obviously as they had a little bit more manpower and I suppose a bit more knowledge on how to work for the PlayStation as a whole, yeah, got more zombies, more enemy variety, and, of course, clothing, which is the spice of life. So yeah, if there's anything to take away from this commentary, put on your fucking pants. That's, all I've really got to say. Damn, I had something else I was gonna think about, but I forgot. Thank Namine. Ooh, more jelly beans, by which I mean Magnum rounds, and, yeah, I mean, since this is pretty much the final area of the game, go hog wild with your Magnum rounds, although if you save at least 6 shots for a certain boss encounter, you'll be seeing next time, for this is the penultimate part of the Resident Evil. Let's read another excerpt from Genesis. I will stand unto you, bless you, and make you descendants as numerous as the stars in the... Fuck it. So, I guess the idea of that is basically, let's make babies! Because, yeah, don't shoot your sperm anywhere, just use virus culture. Because of mitochondria and shit. But anyway, as I was, thinking about... Yeah, that's right, now I remember the piece of trivia I had. Yeah, Resident Evil, in some of its earlier conceptions, was initially going to be on the Super Nintendo, I think. Or at least it was one of the earlier conceptions back when the game was, you know, in very, very early stages. Like, I mean, I think this might have been before we really had Resident Evil in the form that we knew it now, so, yeah. Who knows really what that would have turned out like, although I do remember hearing somewhere about, like, a Mega Drive remake of Resident Evil, so, I don't know, maybe like an isometric camera angle, a few pre-rendered backgrounds, in kind of a similar manner to Sonic 3D Blast. I don't know, I think it could work. I mean, the horror atmosphere might be a little bit, different, and again, you probably couldn't get the same amount of CG cutscenes, but I don't know, like, I mean, yeah, I think it would have been possible, and I mean, I haven't seen it or played the Mega Drive remake of Resident Evil for myself, but I'd be interested in looking more of it up, so, yeah. Groovy. Anyway, more item management in the game, more saving, more loading, and now what the fuck are we doing? Mix herbs with your bullets, like in the Alone in the Dark remake, which you could put alcohol in your bullets to get flaming bullets. Which was honestly one of the less ridiculous aspects of that game, and one of the more broken aspects. Actually, speaking of Alone in the Dark though, I'm kinda surprised that franchise never really made much of a revival in recent years. I mean, again, I guess the 2008 game was pretty much their attempt at it. I think there was also like a multiplayer-focused spin-off thing for it, but I don't know, like, I mean, given the amount of horror revivals, sequels, remake, prequel boots, or whatever, you would have thought Alone in the Dark would have been up there as something they would have wanted to use to capture, like, I don't know, the zeitgeist of the gaming industry in a time when it's scraping the bottom of the barrel for ideas and IPs that even have the slightest hint of nostalgic appeal. Oh well, enough beating around the bush I guess, because now we get to, well, pretty much our final goal, which is giving power to the elevator. You're not going to be seeing it here, but yeah, there is actually an optional scene where if you go down to basement 4, you can actually find an old friend. Not that you can really do anything to release them, but yeah, you can find out that they are, in fact, still kicking around and that not all of Stars is gone. But yeah, I mean, if you do that for one character or vice versa, then yeah, that pretty much gives you a hint on how to save them. But again, you can only do that if you activate the self-destruct system, so yeah, pick your poison. Also, new enemy types. Kind of. You might be thinking that these are meant to be hunters, but no, these are in fact the chimeras. Basically, combinations of insects and other animals, so, as, you know, the chimera name implies. Yeah, they'll pretty much dangle on the ceiling, give you a bit of a hang-scratcher kind of thing, and that's about it. I mean, so long as you're quick on your feet, the chimeras aren't really worth shit, to be honest. Kind of interesting that they kind of have them for this one area, but, you know, enemy variety is the spice of life. I suppose even more bizarre that they're even less known because I don't really bring them up in terms of, you know, the virus research, so I guess maybe these were meant to be aberrations that developed in the aftermath. Although, then again, like, I mean, given the T-Virus's progression, this obviously probably would have changed from game to game, but I thought the T-Virus's progression was meant to be from, like, human to zombie to Crimson Head, then to Licker. But I don't know, I guess maybe Chimera might have been an earlier thought of stage for them in terms of evolution, but yeah, who knows really. And yeah, that's about all she wrote. Turn on the power, do a thing, and basically go back and Bob's your uncle, really. Avoid the chimeras as we navigate around this Nightmare on Elm Street boiler room. Actually, that does kind of make me wonder, actually, like, I mean, would a survival horror game based on Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, done in the Resident Evil style, be viable? I mean, I think you could do it, like, I mean, stuff like, you know, the Nemesis concept of Resident Evil 3, maybe mixed in with a bit of, you know, Silent Hill-influenced otherworld structure for, you know, the Nightmare realm. I don't know, it seems like a workable concept that I'm surprised that, especially by the time of the 90s, actually, like, I mean, when you had Freddy vs. Jason in development hell. Actually, I mean, even in that case, like, I mean, Wes Craven's New Nightmare was only a couple years out by that point, so I mean, you could have had a reasonably workable concept for a Nightmare on Elm Street survival horror game. Which, the more I think about it, I'm actually very saddened that it never came to pass. I mean, even in today's day and age, actually, like, I mean, we don't have any new Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but I mean, we did have the Friday the 13th game. So, I mean, what's to say that you couldn't have, like, a survival horror set up for that? I mean, you could have Tormented Souls as a decent basis for it. Or, I mean, if you wanted to go for a more modernized, setting, I mean, you have stuff like The Evil Within, even the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. I don't know, I think it's possible. You know, game developers hintity hint hint hint. You could use Freddy Krueger for more than just being a spin-off character in Mortal Kombat. Whatever, it's time we finally make tracks and, confront our ultimate enemy. When we make it to the final lab, we will stop that tyrant. But it seems that somebody might get in our way, and, yes, it seems that this will confirm what we've all been thinking the entire time if you've got working eyes and ears.
Jill! Jill! You're here too!
Yes, you're here too?
Look, I lost my way.
Let's get going.
Oh dear me, Barry. What a silly sod. Just losing his way, coincidentally happening to find the lab. Oh well, maybe he used his skills that he got from his lost mentor, Enrico! Oh, I'll miss you, Enrico. You and your... yeah. But anyway, not only are we gonna learn, well, obviously that Wesker is the traitor, but we're also gonna see what Barry's role in all this is. But will he redeem himself?
Wesker?
You did a fine job, Barry.
Just as I thought.
I think you should stay away from Barry, Jill. I hear that his wife and 2 daughters will be in danger if he doesn't do everything I tell him to.
You are so cruel.
Well, you don't have to worry about anything, because you'll be free from this world very soon, Jill.
Why do you have to destroy stars?
That's Umbrella's intention. This laboratory has been engaging in dangerous experiments, and recently an accident has occurred. Anyway, this disaster cannot be made public.
That's why having stars nosing about is so inconvenient. So you're a slave of Umbrella now, along with these virus monsters.
I think you misunderstand me, Jill. To me, the monsters you mention mean nothing. I'm going to burn all of them together with this entire laboratory. I must complete my mission as ordered by Umbrella. Barry, go up on the ground and wait there.
Barry!
Barry's such a fool. He'll be under the control of Umbrella forever.
How come both Umbrella and you can intimidate him by taking his family as hostages?
Umbrella? Well, I intimidated him, but it had nothing to do with Umbrella. I just used him for my personal purposes, though both you and Barry seem to think I was following orders from Umbrella.
So you're planning something else?
If you succeeded in developing the world's most powerful biological weapon, what would you do? What if you were in charge?
You must stop this now.
You're a brave girl. But if I were you, I wouldn't give up such a big discovery. You guys are idiots. No one understands its real value.
So you're going to steal all the research?
Better yet, I'm going to show you the tyrant.
Barry!
Sorry, Jill.
How is your family?
I was listening to what you and Wesker were talking about. I wish I realized it earlier. I thought it must have something to do with Umbrella, you know. So it's all been masterminded by him.
But it's good that you know that now. Anyway, let's get out of this house first.
Jill!
Yes, what?
Do you have any idea what Wesker was going to show you at the back of this place?
Well, he was talking about the world's most powerful biological weapon, called Tyrant or something, I think.
Do you think we could see Tyrant now?
Barry, you're so optimistic.
It would look bad for Stars if we let such a dangerous creature run loose.
Maybe you're right. Let's go then.
So, enough chin wagging. God, we're gonna be gossiping all day, but yes indeedy, I'm Solidus Skully. Keep it new metal and, well, Jill, Barry, I would like you to meet the Tyrant. Catch you next time.